Awesome. Thank you very much, Lori. I appreciate you putting this all together and getting everybody here. To all of you in attendance, I appreciate your time. Lori is she's teasing everybody with the curtain opening and closing, I guess. So makes it hard for me to go through the slides. But I'm going to actually turn off my camera in just a moment, and I'm going to light a candle and pray that I don't lose my internet during this, because I'm down in lovely South Florida, and it is that time of day when the storms move through. So we have one going. So I'm going to turn off the camera and hope this speeds this up. The goal of today, ladies and gentlemen, is to try to share with you, recap some of what we've already talked about if you've been on any of our past presentations, recap some of the why, some of the how, and go into detail, as much detail as possible, while maintaining as much data integrity as we possibly can here. So we're going to actually get hands-on into some of the systems that we use to protect you and your clients. And this is an opportunity for you guys to ask some questions as we go. If it makes sense to stop, I will stop and answer the question. Otherwise, we can queue them up for the end, but feel free to throw them out as you think of them. I'm totally cool with that, and we'll just try to tackle them as we go. We want to give you, this is based on feedback from our partners. We want to give you real world understanding of how we're doing this so that you can explain it well, because at the end of the day, what we're hearing, and I've heard it twice today from product vendors, is that customers don't buy software. They aren't buying technology, they're buying solutions, and they're buying ecosystems. And at the end of the day, what you will see is we are very quickly moving to an open architecture, open ecosystem solution that has a tremendous amount of capabilities, and the true power is in how we harness data to start moving from just detect and respond to the other side, which is spotting patterns, identifying things before they happen, and getting to a much more proactive security footprint. So next. We've talked about this before from the time we laid out our technology roadmap to our partners and shared with you what we're trying to do. You can no longer afford to throw tools at a problem and not have them deeply connected. At the end of the day, tools will create opportunities for exploits if they are not all consolidated in a way that you can make sense of it quickly, and act upon the information in ways that we could not act upon it before. Attacks are happening lightning fast. If you have not read the CrowdStrike report, it's maybe 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old at this point. The mean time to breakout is under 30 minutes. I believe it was about 27 minutes, and the fastest I saw was 24 seconds. We see it every day, folks. We're not talking about just smash and grab ransomware attempts. More sophisticated attacks where they get in, they're able to break out, move laterally very quickly. We are working to create a solution where there is no place to hide. There are no gaps, and we can move fast when we do see them. Detect and response is the last line of defense in a very complex ecosystem, and you're going to see very quickly why we believe that we are uniquely positioned to help your clients, and I want you to be able to demonstrate that. And folks, if there's anything you see on here that you want us to talk about with your clients, please, we are happy to demonstrate this. Seeing is truly believing for most of our clients. When they get under the hood, they really like what they're seeing and how we can leverage their data. Next slide. Really important points here. I know we harp on this every time we talk to you guys. This is not the same old XDR. We believe XDR is a failed premise. People tried to, next gen SIM, all of that stuff. There's SIM functionality, there's XDR, but if you are not leveraging a unified data lake strategy to bring all of the telemetry that you can into play, and formatting it and giving yourself the opportunity to look at it from a perspective that you never could before, and that's agentic AI. It goes beyond what humans are capable and beyond what the systems are capable of doing today, and leverages agentic AI for exactly what it was built for, which is spotting patterns at mass scale. If you're not doing all of those things, you don't stand a fighting chance. We're able to extend the native capabilities, including EDR, if so desired, or supplementing existing EDRs and bring your own EDR scenarios. We really are now able to take this to the next level and bring a layer of visibility and observability to the network we have not been able to do before. And then ultimately, what really has to start happening from here is we want our partners, you guys, to be involved in helping the client understand this data, which means we have to give it to you in better ways. We have to visualize it for you. We have to help them identify problems. And we're going to go through, after the hands-on part, we're going to go through some things that are coming soon, some of it very soon, some of it in the coming quarters, but different ways that we're going to be able to extend that visibility to you and to your customers. Next. We've talked about a unified data lake strategy, but what does that mean? What you're going to see is how we deploy it. In our world, every bit of data goes across a unified detection layer, gets pushed down into your space. Each log is identified uniquely and stored discreetly as your own, your customer's own. You have access and visibility to all of that hierarchy. But by doing this across a unified detection lake, it allows us to detect across thousands and thousands of rules at scale. And then if you may not want to see all of that. You may not want to be alerted on all of that, and we can account for that. But we need to know. And the more we identify good or bad, normal versus abnormal, the better job we do that, and it requires data to train the models to do that, the more we do that, the better the outcomes. So we're able to take your SaaS, your endpoint, identity, cloud, physical networks, and now even agentic AI surfaces, which is going to be the most brutally difficult surface to defend against. We're bringing all that together in a data lake, putting it in that lake exactly how we want, formatted how we want, and with integrity and quality control checks on it, so that we can use that data not just to detect and respond, but ultimately to spot how things moved before. So when we bring all of it in, we format it, it gets deposited in the data lake. And we're talking about a data lake that works at petabyte scale, folks. Lightning quick at petabyte scale. Commercial Elastic is absolutely positively unrivaled in its ability to handle those kind of tasks at scale. Really, really excited as we'll see a couple of things and how it's starting to work towards the future. Next slide. That's the extent of my agentic AI prowess right there, that visualization. The point of that visualization is to show you something that we talk about. You need to see things vividly. You need to know with certainty whether something is good or bad, and you need to know quickly. The only way to do that is with the right underlying plumbing and then the speed of agentic AI. And that's one of the things that you'll see when we actually get into some detail and we start showing you how the Oracle works. You will see that everything is 100% transparent, 100% logged. We have very, very specific controls to be able to go back and look exactly what happened. So the same transparency and accountability you expect from us when there is an incident. We talk about going beyond the alert. We can extend that all the way into the agentic AI realm. And that's critically important, folks. We think it's absolutely critical to be able to show you if something went wrong, why it went wrong, how it went wrong, so we know how to correct it. And our expectation is there are going to be times where it does go wrong. Nothing is foolproof in this business. And when I say go wrong, it could just simply be missing something. But we live in a world where missing once is really, really bad. We have to be right 100% of the time for your customers. And that's what we're striving for. That's a very, very tall mission. Next. So today there are still folks that are very, very manually driven in SOC ops. You hear all the time about alert fatigue and all the things. Being a SOC analyst level one is just absolutely miserable existence. It's very harmful to the customers when they miss, and it's relatively inhumane to the people because they're doing a lot of the same work over and over and over. They easily fall victim to habit and might dismiss something that is really bad. And when they do that, it's pretty brutal. So in a traditional SOC, you would see it, you would see something, you would send an alert. We want to be not an alert factory for you. We don't want to send you more work. We want to filter out as much noise as possible. And we're moving into a realm because our partners are asking us where we see things, we make decisions, and we take actions. Our customers, our partners are telling us over and over now, we want you to take an action. We want you to isolate this. We want you to stop this. Let us know, and then we can re-enable. We can go forward from there, but don't send me something, ask me if I should take action, and then go. Now, as a partner, that's up to you how we leverage this together. All of these things will be driven by what you want for your clients. Our goal is to give you optionality to be able to deliver at scale however you want to do it. The Oracle is analyzing threats. It's today looking at every single alert. We're going to be changing a little bit of how we do that because our models are now really well trained and there's a better way to do it. It prioritizes tasks. It will decide whether to send something to the SOC or not, which we call escalating to the special agents. Our goal is not to replace human beings. Our goal is to give our human beings the greatest opportunity to get to absolutely spotless decisions as fast as humanly possible and allow them to take the actions to protect your customers, to get you involved, to escalate to you, to do whatever that next right thing is in the chain to make sure that your customers are protected. That can be automations, that could be just fetching tremendous amounts of data, etc. Ultimately, we're getting closer and closer. Our goal is to get the power of the Oracle in your hands and maybe even out to the client's hands when we're ready to do that. I'm going to show you how it works and show you why we think that's an important value proposition as we get there, because we want everybody on the same page. This is a value chain with 3 links: us, you, and your partner, your customer. So we want everybody involved. Everybody who's got a stake in the decision can be as involved as they want. Next slide. Today, this is how our process works. When it comes down to detection, we detect. There's a lot of correlation. There's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of enrichment in that correlation process. We'll talk about how that does it. The Oracle goes out and fetches massive amounts of data, has access to multiple systems simultaneously. We break the task up into 5 to 7 subagents, and in under 2 minutes, typically, it's able to come back with a really comprehensive answer to the question. And as I'll show you now, when further investigation needs to be done, we put all those capabilities right in the hands of every single one of our analysts to get to certainty quickly. The special agents validate any actions today, and then response actions can be taken. We are not operating autonomously yet with the AI. We are close to that point where we are ready to let that happen, but we're not there yet. That will be a decision. Again, those will be decisions that can be made on a case-by-case basis, as every customer has their own thresholds for pain. But what we want to do is make sure that for customers who want to be ahead of the curve, who want to get themselves to a place where we take low risk, high reward actions like isolating users from your 365 environment and things like that, we want them to be able to have that at their behest. So we'll be coming to you with that shortly. Next. Okay, I'm going to give you just a quick preview. We're going to walk you through how some of these technologies tie together, how Elastic works as the plumbing, what Elastic actually looks like, what some of the dashboards are. There's a new dashboard that was just pushed. Some of you may not have seen this yet, and I think you're really going to like it. Really excited to be able to share this with you. We're going to show you how quickly we can now move when things are actually brought to our people. And I'm going to walk you through how it looks and how it works and how the technology acts when it's been brought into the SOC. And that's really critical because a lot of people don't want to, a lot of other competitors aren't showing their clients how this works and why it allows us to be more confident, why it allows us to make better decisions faster. You'll see that it's built for efficiency, it's built for scale, and more, we're going to be giving all of you capabilities around how we can work together for you to act quickly, whether it's to take your own actions if you choose, or to undo actions as after we have isolated or frozen things. So some very exciting capabilities as we go forward. Okay, Lori,
I'm
we
going
going to me?
Yes, so either you take the screen or I have to stop sharing.
Take it. Thank you very much. Okay, are we seeing my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So folks, this is the newest version of the OmniViz dashboard, and this is in Kibana, which is the front end or the back end of Elastic, depending on how you want to look at it. But this is an interface that many of you are probably familiar with. There's some amazing things in here. We're going to go through a few of them. But it is a complex interface, and we're going to show you how we simplify that. We're going to show you how we're going to do a better job of simplifying this data for your end customers. But for us to work together and collaborate, we couldn't ask for a more robust tool. So a couple of things that in here that I want to highlight. The new piece of this, this is a dev environment, so not everything's going to be populated. Some of this is in process. But this is essentially a master dashboard that will be built, not will be, it does auto detect what your underlying tool sets are. So for any given client, it will look different. When we get down to the EDR section, I will show you, it will auto detect what EDR is being used and automatically pull that data in. So we don't have to manage 20 different, if you have 20 customers, we don't have to manage 20 different versions of the same dashboard. They'll get this master dashboard and it'll auto detect. A couple of key pieces in here. You can get summaries of what's going on. You can see the amount of activity going on across all your accounts. This is a consolidated view. Some of you have been asking for, and we've now delivered a map. This is an attack map. I'm going to expand it. This attack map is showing, see the box, it thinks I'm somewhere, that's telling you where I'm at. I am somewhere between Cuba or I guess Nicaragua and Portugal. In a different view, it'll show you basically, it knows I'm in the southeastern US. But this is a map of alerts, attacks. Eventually, this will be animated. So another 60 days or so, we'll have this fully animated so you can see where it's coming from inbound, where it will connect. It'll have source IP and destination IP, all of those pieces. The color coding is the type of attack and severity of the attack. So you'll see the word board here shows you kind of the amount and types of alerts in there. So gives you some insight. You can click on any one of those things and filter it down. You'll see events as we go through, and now you're starting to see events by type. And you're starting to see that I can show any source that I'm logging, my endpoint, my email security, any SASE. As you guys know, we have multiple varieties and some really exciting stuff coming down here. For those of you who are using vulnerability scanning, again, could be any vulnerability scanner at this point. We just need to know where it's coming from. We can detect and we can pull in the sort of CVEs we're seeing here. For those of you who don't know, we've built a virtual agent that actually will start running the jobs to patch the CVEs, Windows only at this point, but we'll be able to automatically go to the CVE, pull down the CVE, go get any KBs, apply it via Datto RMM. There will be other flavors of RMM supported shortly. Update your vulnerability manager and scanner, and that will, in this where it says no results found, that will ultimately display there. So this dashboard, like I said, was just pushed actually this morning to me. So I wanted to share this with you because I think it's pretty exciting in how it all works. I'm going to skip around here. We talk about full spectrum visibility. One of the things that you'll see here, this is the integration capabilities of Elastic. When we talk about the power of Elastic, we talk about it now essentially as the plumbing that holds all of this thing together, that brings this all together for us in a meaningful way. There's security detections and other things in there that are critically important. But at the end of the day, the number one thing and the reason for why Elastic is the foundation of this is because it's open source and it is sticky as hell. You'll see that it has 544 integrations currently available, and we build custom ones all the time. We can build them in a matter of, I don't want to say hours. It only takes hours to build them. It takes a few days to build, test, and go into prod with them. But we no longer have to wait for third parties to build them. We can build them. The next thing I want to show you is that it's not just that we're able to get that data, but we're able to tell how good or bad that data is. We're able to format that data using these message pipelines to bring it in, to deposit it in the lake in a way that makes it usable for us in other ways, which we're going to talk about where we're going with this. So I can look at any of these pipelines and see what's going on with these logs. I can see why there are problems, why they're missing, and go actually take action on it. When we lose a data pipeline, it alerts us. So rather than finding out when logs are missing that a data pipeline has gone down, we're able to go and quickly ascertain that it's happened. We go way beyond just security information. Get into Microsoft 365 audit dashboard. We're pulling in lots of information related to your 365 environment. This is going to be absolutely critical as we start looking at events and looking at configuration mismatches, looking at change over time. We're going to talk about some different ways we're doing it, but you can pull in as much as you'd like in here. If it's available on the API endpoint, we're able to bring it in. We're going to have some very different ways of gathering that data in a little bit, and we're going to talk about that. Next, I want to show you what an alert looks like in here. And then we're going to contrast and get into what happens when an alert happens, what happens, how do we deal with it. So this is all lab data. This is all dev. So in this view, this is what an analyst would see if we were working a ticket in Elastic. We do not do that. When you pull it up, you'll see there's a tremendous amount of information that an analyst has to go to. If there's a graph available, you'd see the graph here, any insights that it's capable of bringing us, entities in the organization, anything related to threat intelligence, prevalence across the environment. This will tell us, has this happened before? What does that look like? Any interesting correlations that it can provide. If there were investigatory steps here, these are standard. This is actually standard Elastic, gives you this built in. We can customize these, do it our way, and we can actually give the Oracle access to this page and say, in addition to all your normal steps, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. We don't do that today. If there were response capabilities that we wanted to be enacted, we could build them in here and say, these are the things you can and can't do. Again, all basic Elastic. We do it a different way, but I want you to kind of have the baseline. And then in notes, if an analyst was looking at it in here, what you would see this, when we talk about the Oracle, we talk about it showing its work. You see here, it says at the very top, customer facing. If you were to see this in an alert, you would see all of this information. What an analyst sees is much different. You see the detail that they're able to look through here. This is telling us why. So it's taking a static risk score of 21 assigned by Elastic and telling us why 80% it thinks this is a positive. It goes through workflows. If there were additional queries done, it's going to tell us what additional queries it did, tell us about threat intelligence, investigation findings, etc. So an analyst would take anywhere between 5 minutes and an hour doing this, depending on what it was looking at, what he or she is looking at, and what the complexity of it. It'll give us recommendations. It does all of that. And then at the end, it gives us, you see that all happen in 2 minutes and 11 seconds. It's pretty impressive, but this is a lot of information. An analyst would be going through JSON views, table views, overviews. They have to go through and read all this if a human were doing this. That is a tremendous amount of work in a short period of time where every single minute counts. You will have access to alerts in your dashboard. You will be able to see a lot of what we see here. If we need to collaborate, that will be very important. I'm going to change views and I'm going to show you now. This is what our queue looks like. Rather than working in Elastic for these capabilities, this is what our analysts see. This is 100% from the ground up, built by us, and it's built for accuracy, efficiency, and capability. So when we've presented this to technology analysts and people who look at what's going on, they see very quickly the same thing, which is this was built from the ground up as from an operator's perspective out, as opposed to a software perspective in. It's built for functionality, it's built for speed, and it's built for mean time to conclusion and mean time to action. I am going to skip over to the OmniAgent page to show you some things, and then we're going to kind of hop around back and forth. I've shown you the Oracle. I've shown you what it's doing. It's currently running 7 jobs right now. This is the back end of it. This allows us to audit and control, put guardrails around all those that say processing. Those are active jobs running. There's about 45 set up. I've seen this where I've been doing a demo and it's jumped up and been hit with 100 alerts simultaneously. It can clear them in 2 to 3 minutes, depending on what the type and severity are. Down below, as we look towards the completed jobs, we could jump in here and we could grab any one of these. And I'm going to show you one in a minute. I have one selected that doesn't have any sensitive information in it. So I wanted to be able to show you. But you can see here right now, we're at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And that's because we've added a decision engine. It's run almost 12,000 jobs in the last 7 days at a cost of $707. So when you see our costs coming down and our focus on making this more cost effective to you and your clients, it's because we've built scalability into this now. We've built a much more efficient mousetrap. So I want to show you not OmniFlow. Let me show you over here. I believe it's on this screen. No. No. Okay, let me do a filter here actually, and I'll do it a different way. All right, there we go. Okay, so here's an older job from the lab environment. I'm going to pull this up. Oh, it's not going to show the decision engine. I'll find one that I can show you that. But this allows us to go into any job. This did not come out of production. This allows us to go into any job, look at all the metrics associated with it, the decision making, and that markdown that you saw is actually presented in here. Because this is not from prod, it doesn't have that. So let me see if I can find something that's not sensitive. I had one open and I lost it. All right, let's see. Jumped on me. In this scenario here, we're going to focus on a couple of things that you didn't see there. This area here on the decision agent is really important. This is what will ultimately decide when and how it goes to the SOC. There are certain things that are automatic, but when it needs to be determined, it's going to have a threshold. We are now Every one of these is audited by a human. Every one of these is validated as to whether the decision should have been sent to the SOC or not. You see down here, I'm going to scroll quickly through it because I don't know how sensitive it is, but that's where those analysis that I showed you in the lab environment came from. They came right from here. We see the token input. You see that we're very heavy on the input, light on the output. That's because we are shoving all of the information at it very quickly. And then we see every process that was required here and exactly how long it took. They can download all of the details in JSON, and we can actually use AI to analyze the details of the AI. So it is a very, very robust system. Each of these agents has 5 to 7 sub-agents. They each use LLMs or SLMs, depending on their tasks. And our focus is to get this quickly, accurately, and ready to move. Switch over here. So in here, now we're back to an alert. So you'll see very quickly as I'm going to scroll across that everything that we saw in Kibana, I now have brought over here, including the analysis, and I've brought some metadata. And I want to focus here on the alert timeline. Time open is largely irrelevant. Most of that depends on the partner. If this is coming from a dev environment, it wouldn't have it. But the time to first action, that's 8 minutes. So this alert was dealt with and addressed in the first action, which could be taking an actual action to contain something, do something, or just creating a ticket and asking for the partner review on something because we've taken it as far as we can. That happens a lot. You're probably familiar with it. That took 8 minutes. Not for the Oracle to do it. That's the time it took for an analyst to get to it. That would have been virtually impossible a year ago, but we're now able to move quickly through it. All of the relevant information, including the alert ID, so they can do lots of different things, is there. Again, we brought forth any related alerts. We brought the customer details. I'm going to skip that because there may be sensitive info under there. We brought any auto task tickets to it, so you can see those there. It'll show any relevant tickets that may have been fired in the last X period, 30 days. So an analyst now has expanded their horizon, right? Here's the decision from the Oracle. Here's why it failed the gate. Here's the information that was missing for it to make the decision. And then the analyst has at their disposal response actions at the press of a button. We're very excited, folks. We put this on the roadmap. This functionality here to be able to isolate or unisolate, whatever the response capabilities are, we intend to get in late Q3, early Q4. We intend to have a scaled down version in an app, including a mobile version for you to be able to take actions on your client's behalf when we send you things that need further investigation. We want you to be able to have the opportunity to just take that action quickly, all from your phone, your desktop, wherever you may be. We want to be able to collaborate faster. Now, we've talked about how the Oracle works, how it helps the analyst. Now the analyst has opened this, and I believe it's probably going to pop up a prior window here. Yeah, it is persistent. So I'm just going to walk you through a couple of things very quickly here, and then to show you that this is not, I hate like hell that it's pre-populated. I'll show you that it's legit. I am not an analyst, folks. I do not know what this means. I do not know what to do. I literally asked it, what should I do? It gives me the key findings, walks me through pattern of alert, tells me exactly what to do. So absolutely giving me tremendous amounts of capability. So then it asked me if I would like it to search for other alerts related to that IP address. I said, yes. Had it do it, gives me more information relevant. And then I said, give me a threat hunting report. Gives me a detailed threat hunting report, tells me about it. Shows me other confirmed positives in the last 90 days, shows me the pattern, the hypothesis, what might be happening in here. So now I've gone from taking this alert to, hey, there might be a broader problem here, Mr. Partner, Mr. Customer, right? So now we're collectively going to be bringing value to that client. We're able to look and find this pattern. We're able to spot a broader risk beyond just this alert. Goes through the current, tells me it's a validated threat. Now it's pointed out to the fact that there's rural health issues, 91% bulk dismissal rate, alert fatigue, automated triage. That means, high false positive. Okay. Inconsistent naming, rule variants, blah, blah, blah. We know that's an issue. Suppression active, right? So it's seeing duplicate events. Gives me recommendations on what I should do, rule tuning, some things, some conclusion here. So I asked it to tune the rule. Needed to clarify, it can't directly modify. So it was telling me politely that it can't do that, but here's how to do it. Here's the strategy. And oh yeah, by the way, here's how you would implement it. Here's the JSON. Add some filtering, do this, walks right through how the rule would work in the system it came from, because it knows how these systems work now. Exclude these, tune this, here's your whole configuration, this is how it should look, here's your code, and the expected impact, next steps, here's how you go do it, because I can't do it. So with no knowledge of how to work an alert, I've gone through, I've confirmed that it's positive, but I was told what action to take. I was able to take the next steps, and I'm able to now go tune the rule to make sure that the rule is more accurate. Now, an analyst is not going to do that. They would, if they saw this problem, they would notify this. They would share this in teams with the QC team. The QC team could review it and go do that. But the most important takeaway here is that we have given the analyst a tremendous amount of power at their fingertips. And I want to show you how quickly it can do these things. So, and please keep in mind my computer is slow as hell when I'm sharing and doing all of this. So we're running this. We will run this and it will come back. It usually takes between 5 and 10 seconds maximum to come back with all the details associated with this IP address. And this is that last chat was from hours ago. Came back with all the details around it. Give me external threat intelligence. It went and pulled that from all the open source feeds, from the MIST servers, and from all of the paid feeds that we have. AWS IP address, related internal IPs, all that data in maybe 10 to 15 seconds tops in there. So I'm going to close this, and I am going to skip over to the last piece of the tech so that you understand even a little more about how this works on the back end, and why, again, why we have a level of agility that we just don't see from others. So we no longer use a third-party SOAR platform. So for those of you not familiar, that's services or security, depending on who you talk to, orchestration, automation, and response. We have built a fully agentic response capability. All those response buttons that you saw either are built by our agentic AI, so we can build workflows and build playbooks, or we have trained, in this case of certain systems, for example, SentinelOne, if an analyst gave a plain language command to isolate a host in SentinelOne or do some other action in SentinelOne, we no longer need a playbook to do it. It knows how to operate our SentinelOne console. It would go take that action automatically. All of that's connected lake to lake between our SentinelOne and Elastic. So we have tremendous amount of underlying capability associated with it. So in this case, you see this little icon down here. I'm going to ask it to build me a rule. Build me a workflow, because I'm an analyst and I've spotted that there's a problem. Build a workflow, if I can type here, to isolate the user in Entra ID when you see 10 failed logins. followed by one successful login under 1 minute. For those not familiar with rule buildings or why I would do that, I don't really care about the 10 failed logins. I care about the fact that you had one successful one after it. And it's asking me some clarifying questions. How would you like me to connect? To be very clear, I don't know the right answers to these, so I'm going to tell it what I think I want and tell it to continue. Now, it may ask me some more clarifying questions based on the choices that I just made, but it did give me some logical, easy to understand questions. Okay, I apply the changes, and the Chief Strategy and Revenue Officer is now a dev. I have now built out a workflow. I'm going to close this window. If you notice, before I do, it'll give me all the suggested tests and allow me to test it. Now we send this off to QC before this would ever go into production, but I want to close this window so that I can show you something. Somebody asked me, how do I know that's not just a bunch of boxes? Because they're all the code is there and can be edited as you go through it. If there's anything that needs to be edited, it will go through the process. And some of these workloads, some of these cases would take, potentially take weeks to build. We had some that were hundreds or thousands of pages. If I go into here, you'll see what it's doing in there. So I am going to scratch this because this is actually in prod and they'll kill me if I screw this up. Just gonna go there. There we go. Okay. That way I'm not building any rules. So I am going to pause here before we go into the next phase of this and talk about what next and why. I think that broadly covers all of the functionality that we see on a day-to-day. And if there was any questions around that would be appropriate, I would entertain those now. I'm still sort of hung up on Thomas and his smoking jacket, but okay. All right. I don't see any questions there. Laura, you want to go back to the prezo?
Yep, moving there.
You wear the captain's hat with that smoking jacket, Thomas? See, I'm like, I did ask. Oh, I love it. I can't get that image out of my head. I'm not going to be able to unsee that. So, all right. Next slide. All right. Some cool stuff that we're going to be talking about. This one's for your customers. Special shout out to young Liam. Beth, I'll grab your question in just a moment. That's a great question. Liam has been working with a couple of his partners in gathering feedback. Guys, we thrive on constructive feedback. We're looking to build simplified reports that take the data. The Kibana dashboards are awesome. High-end enterprise customers love them. Small and medium business customers don't know what to do with them. They're good for us. They're good for you. They're great for us to talk about data, and they're great for us to spot patterns and identify problems. But they just don't do justice to what the small and medium business customer wants. So Liam's working on a format that will greatly condense what we're doing for them on a weekly basis. We're looking to give you the capabilities to go in and snag reports. We've got a little bit of data alignment to get done in this, but this is kind of an example of what it looks like. It will be a little less on numerics and a little more on here's a quick summary, red, yellow, green style reporting, something to make them feel good about what they are paying you for, something that you can incorporate into whatever cadence you're using with your customers. So more to come on this, but we hope to have this out. My target is to have this out by mid-third quarter. We'll be soliciting feedback from broader audiences shortly on it as we refine this and as we tie out the data hooks. Next. This one, folks, is really, really huge. We have an enterprise app that is now officially available let me be careful. It is now in the Microsoft Store. We will send you links when we are ready to go generally available with it in production. You will get a link to the enterprise app. You will have the ability to integrate it. It'll tell you very clearly what the capabilities we get from it are, but we won't have to manage API keys, which makes this smooth. We'll have lightning quick integration. And we will be building out over the back half of the year a functionality that we view as mission critical to cybersecurity. Everything we keep talking about is change over time. We need to understand normal so that we know what abnormal is. The better we understand your normal, the faster we can respond when things are not normal. The more we can spot misconfigurations, the better we can close the door before something happens. We're here to detect and respond, but we have to get ahead of the threats. The only way we can do this is by being innovative and looking at ways to be able to show you snapshots in time and identify change over time. So in addition to understanding what you look like right this second in your 365 environment and giving us the ability to reach back and make changes, isolating hosts, disable a user, enable a user, create a user, all of those, all these really important functionalities to protecting their 365 environment, which are hit hard day in, day out in our world. We'll also be able to know what normal looked like yesterday and understand that it's different today. Flag that and work together to figure out, is that because you changed the policy? Is that because something happened? Is that because there's an attack underway or about to be underway? Because if we can find those misconfigurations today, these devices don't have MFA. MFA is here, but it's not being enforced. All of those things, we're going to be able to provide you detailed analysis of that environment without you having to do that yourself. It's an extra set of eyes and ears, because our goal, if we can vaccinate or inoculate that customer before something happens, that ounce of prevention is worth $4.9 million of cure today. We also have a Google app. By the way, these are all tested, working, really, really powerful, really, really effective. The staff is geeked because we will be able to disable and tell you we've disabled it. If you want to re-enable, go ahead. But we got to freeze that action. Email compromises, those sorts of things, absolutely critical to be able to move quickly, take action, tell you we took the action, allow you to turn it back off if that's what you want to do. Those are what we're getting at. We have the Google app as well. We're working through the process of getting that formally approved by them, but the app is built, it works. It'd be huge with schools where we see Google. That's a big, big deal. In addition to all the Elastic Defend capabilities we have, all the response capabilities we have natively with the Elastic Agent, all of those things. Now we're going to be able to extend that into your 365 environment. We look to expand this into major cloud ecosystems as quickly as possible. I already shared with you, we have a virtual agent built that knows how to work data RMM to do patching. We can teach that thing to do virtually anything leveraging data RMM. Anything it can do, we can teach it to do. These are learned skills. So our focus is on being able to not just detect and respond, but how do we get to prevention, and how do we work with you to protect your customers better? The one piece that we have in here that we have to ask you for is your cooperation, your willingness to understand, your willingness to dive in and learn, and sometimes be uncomfortable because we understand this isn't your business, but we want to schedule sessions with you to go over these sorts of things, to have out-of-band discussions, and to focus on what parts of the ecosystem need to be added. We've talked about AI. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute, but I'm going to close with that because this is just a huge, huge frontier. Talk to you about some technologies we're looking at reviewing. We're being approached each and every day because we have the architectural plumbing to connect to anything. And there's a whole new ecosystem of attacks occurring. We have to have a whole new ecosystem to defend. Uh, um, Before we go on, Beth asked about the Copilot. Today, the Copilot is only available for our analysts. In time, we wish to get that out. That will be sort of late this year or early next, depending. Um, the reason for it has nothing to do with functionality. The reason is data privacy. The power of that Copilot, and I want to be clear, we call it the Copilot. It's probably a bad name for it. It is not Microsoft Copilot. It is our tech. It is how we brought back to the Oracle. The power that it has is incredible because it gives context at both the tenant level, so think your client, partner level, the global detection level, the Q level, and anything in the outside world that we give it access to. And what it's capable of doing is spotting patterns, patterns that an analyst is never going to see because analysts are working on the alert in front of them. So the it needs that power to come back with really meaningful insights and concise conclusions because the context is critical. And we have so much data now formatted in a specific way. It's what makes it usable. We talked about that a little bit. What I can't do today very easily is control what it might spit back to you. I shouldn't say that. We can control it, but as you've all seen, as somebody told me earlier today, I thought was pretty funny. He's got an AI, essentially XDR for AI, pretty cool tool. We'll talk about just briefly, but he said, as we've all seen last weekend, it took about a long weekend to unravel the most powerful model on Earth, supposedly, right? We don't want to rush into doing something that could potentially leak your data. So there's tools in place that we have to put in, like sort of AI firewalls that will obfuscate IP addresses, sensitive data, emails, etc. in the event that it were to spit something out. There's masking capabilities built into Elastic and others, but we have to be 1000% certain that it's not going to leak data and that it can't be manipulated. So a lot of work to go there. In the meantime, know that you're getting not just initial analysis, but you're getting really detailed information, threat hunting, etc. And in the event there is an issue, this is really, really important. If your client has an issue, we go beyond the alert. We spend time with them. We have spent days on end with clients who've had breaches, clients who've done horrifically bad things and are scrambling around. And no matter how good their planning was, Mike Tyson said it, I think everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, when you get punched in the mouth by a cyber attack, a lot of things go right out the window. We will get on the phone with you. We can work with you. We can pull it up and we can go in great detail and know that something did happen or something didn't happen very, very quickly. So you have access to that simply by picking up the phone and calling us. Our SOC is not going to tell you no. Our SOC is not going to say, that's not my job. If they do, then I expect that you will call me and I'll be on the phone with you and them, and there'll be a different conversation that happens after that. Their job is to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that you and your client are happy. Lori, next slide. Before we cover this one, I'm going to turn it back to Lori after this. I wanted to be sure that was my last. AI detection, guys and girls, got to be a big, big deal. If you're not talking about it with your clients, if they're not asking you about it, they should be. It's not just that they're using it formally, it's that they're using it informally. Employees are using it. We are looking at multiple different solutions across that frontier. It is the Wild West right now. I had 2 conversations today on different types of functionality. We have had conversations with companies as large as Veeam, companies that are startups with people with incredibly proven track records that build incredible technology. We're not 100% sure which way to go, but I talked about this before. This is an ecosystem. There's things we're going to be building on our own natively to detect this. Again, if we know what normal looks like, we can detect abnormal. We're going to be finding ways to leverage this data to build models that help us see normal and abnormal in real time. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And we're going to come out with some other solutions, third-party solutions that are integrated directly into our OmniViz solution, as these companies are not looking for us to go out and resell. They're looking for a complete solution. Both AI detection and response companies that I talked to today said the same thing. Selling product is dead. That is not what anybody wants. They want a real solution. So, not sure who SA is. Let me grab that question. Concerned with using OmniViz that's working towards CMMC level 2. The concern would be we are not CMMC. We have a plan to get there. It would be a matter of timing. It could be, there's a couple scenarios that can make it sooner rather than later, and November would not be a time frame. But Scott, that would be something that we should take offline with your account rep and myself. I'd be happy to talk to you about that and give you a briefing on it. We will not be FedRAMP. That is not part of our plan. But CMMC level 1, which is what we would need to be part of somebody else's CMMC scope. For those working on CMMC scopes, it's a really good opportunity for you, because ultimately for them to make a change, they'd have to go through a really significant audit protocol. So you become a really sticky partner for them. It would mandate that you be CMMC level 1 at least as well, I believe. But I'm not an expert on that. So that's that. Final piece I wanted to talk about. When we look at, I mentioned earlier, one thing that's changing, and it's changing very quickly for us today. For the last year, we've looked at every single alert that's come through the system with the Oracle. That's, we want to say alert, really it's events. We're talking millions and millions and millions of events, which have trained our models very, very well. It has really informed our decision making. And what we've noticed is that we can identify patterns. We keep talking about this, and this is really, when you're looking at differentiating yourself, detection and response is the table stakes. Prevention is the goal. And what we're now able to do by training the Oracle on the data lake, and when I say training, I mean focusing it in and having it look and doing that threat hunting we're talking about, we are able to identify patterns. We will no longer have to look at every single low value alert, because we will know with great certainty that in and of itself, it is not a problem. But by looking at everything in the data lake and seeing patterns emerge in low level alerts, not just at the single client level, but across the global detections, across verticals. We know we categorize the end customer by what kind of vertical they're in. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for risk and looking to spot trends. We are very focused on having the Oracle begin to identify those things, because we believe that in short order, between now and the end of the year, we will be spotting trends before the problem happens, just like in that 365 and Google environments, other SaaS environments. Low-level alerts teach us that something is going on, some sort of traffic pattern is emerging. How do you make that traffic pattern work? The reason we are here today is because of a major incident with a client where we took 37,000, we took months of logs from one client and took what was 37,000 different pings missed by multiple, and I mean multiple EDRs, multiple XDRs. We ran those logs manually through the Oracle, what is now the Oracle, and it spotted the pattern. That's the capability that we're looking to continue to expand on. And we have people working full time on just that. How do we show you a problem before it happens? So, Lori, I'm going to turn it back to you. I thank everyone for their time. I genuinely appreciate it. I hope this was useful. I know Lori's got a survey. Please provide feedback, good, bad, or ugly. And do not hesitate to reach out either to your account rep, myself directly, whatever works for you.
Thank you, Porter. That was excellent demo. Really enjoyed that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. You've seen the slide up here. We've got 2 more partners only webinars this year. And if you haven't had a chance to look at the customer webinar catalog, please contact your account manager, or you can shoot me an email at marketing@vigilagent.com. And that concludes today's webinar. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you at the next one.